A question we get asked a lot is, what role should Meta play in our marketing mix? Should we be using it for prospecting or retargeting? If you've ever asked yourself that question, you're going to love this episode of T.E.A Talks, as that's what we're going to get into. Let's do it. So Darren, here we are. Here we are again. Another T.E.A Talks. We're going to talk Meta.
Very
today.
Nice.
You look like your arms crossed. You look like you mean business
well,
today.
I was thinking between us, we kind of have a Christmassy vibe with the red and green.
We do a little bit.
Or a watermelon.
Or a watermelon. That'll work. That'll work. I know I've broken out a shirt. It doesn't happen very often,
No.
but I thought I'd put a shirt on today. Meta. We're doing loads of Meta.
We are.
More Meta than we've ever done.
Meta's close to my heart.
Why?
Because it's quite creative.
It is very. Do you know what? That has been one of the big revelations for me. Is we've obviously done for years huge amounts of Google ads, search ads, and that is creative. And we are doing some creative, particularly Performance Max. Lots of assets in. Yeah. We are doing that with demand gen. So there's lots of things you can do with Google. But I do think when it comes to Meta, it's a lot more creative. Yeah, it is a lot more creative, isn't it? I think what you're doing in terms of the creative you're creating you're doing way more for Meta than you are for Google, aren't you?
Yes, absolutely. Particularly at the moment, and we're going to get into why in a sense today. But yeah, because I think there are a lot of people out there who maybe don't know so much about necessarily exactly why they're using Google and Meta and what the difference is and why one requires slightly different things to the other one, and we're hopefully going to clear the sort of the fog of war.
That's the aim of T.E.A Talks, is these little bite-sized little golden nuggets for everyone. So look, I think when it comes to Meta, as I say, we're doing more and more of it. I think the key thing with Meta and our go-to from the very outset when we're talking to brands, whether they're doing Meta or not, is from the very outset, our belief is that it's first and foremost a great channel for retargeting, keeping your brand top of mind and engaging those that have raised their hand, shown an interest in your product or your service. Why? Because it is a social media network. Therefore, I like to think of it as interruption marketing, not intent marketing, not search marketing. So when it comes to your Google, your Bing, you are going on to search. You're actively saying, I am looking for whatever, right? If you're on Facebook and Meta, really, you're looking at what your friends are doing on holiday, what your aunts had for tea, or all of that sort of stuff, right? That's really what you're...
Unless I'm on Facebook Marketplace, which I do go on for a good deal every now and again, I'm not searching to buy things on Facebook.
Okay. Fine. Exactly. And I think that's it. I've always likened it to interruption marketing, right? You're interrupting someone by saying, hey. Now that for some brands can work incredibly well for prospecting, to sort of go, hey, based on where you are, who you are, your interests, etc., we think you might like this product, this service, and we do a lot of that. But our go-to from the very outset is, we, as a minimum, should be using Meta, so Facebook and Instagram, for retargeting, to keep your brand top of mind, to say, hey, you've been on our website, you've previously bought from us, you're on our customer list, you match the target of person who we're going after, therefore we are fairly confident that you have an interest in our product, our service, our brand, and so on. So retargeting, because it's that interruption marketing, is very, very powerful and very effective. And every client we work with, we are doing that. Some, we're then going beyond retargeting and doing prospecting as well.
So you might say, for example, because I do love to role play.
Go on.
I'm a busy man. I have lots of family duties. And I have a big garden to mow. So I'm looking to buy a ride-on mower.
Well, there you are.
I get on the website.
Yes.
I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. You're not going to go and drop
Baby starts
$5,000.
crying.
Yeah, there you go.
I've got to shut my web browser down. But later on at night, when I get some peace and quiet at last, I'm just scrolling on Facebook.
There you go. And do you know what happens?
What happens?
Is an ad pops up that says, hey, you showed an interest in
our
lawnmower. This amazing. Look at this. Here's someone riding around on a lawnmower in the garden.
That could be me.
It could be you. It could be you. And also you think, isn't this amazing? I was only looking at that 6 hours ago, and now, hey, an ad's popped up. There you go.
Add to basket.
Add to basket. Buy, sold, I'm done.
A big basket.
That would be an expensive basket. But Exactly that. That works. It's very powerful, and brands should just be doing it. And the great thing, the best thing I say all the time to brands is that if you're just doing Meta for retargeting and you're not at the stage where, or you haven't got the confidence in its ability to go prospecting, retargeting will only cost you pennies because you're only engaging those that have already shown a hand. So, if you're not going out to the masses and you're only retargeting based on your customer list, based on those who have engaged with you, you could spend $300, $400, $500, a few £100 on remarketing to keep your brand top of mind. We've got clients, rarely do we need to allocate more than $1,000 or $2,000 to retargeting to keep our brands top of mind. And they'll have some serious reach via Meta.
Well, you've done a lot of the work already, haven't you?
But you've done, and you're just keeping your brand top of mind. So it's the first thing, the role that Meta can play in your marketing. If you do nothing else, our starting point is let's use it for retargeting. That's the number one. The number one thing. Now, one thing I do want to say at this point, I want to just slow down. I want to mellow things down because there is an Achilles heel to Meta. And anyone that's done Meta will relate to this. And it's something you are going to have to punch through and you are going to have to get through. And that is, and I'm not going to pull any punches, Meta is a pain in the bleep.
That saved me a job.
But Meta is an absolute pain when it comes to gaining access and just getting your ducks in a row technically. So getting your pixel in a setup, which is how you can get keep your brand top of mind. So you need to get the Meta pixel installed. That's not that difficult. But then it's really just the gaining access, because anyone that's gone into the back end of Facebook, the business side of Facebook, right? And this is, I'm mentioning this one because a lot of brands will have gone, I've tried, but it's a nightmare errand to do. And we've seen it firsthand. Getting your page set up and your account access and your data sets, and then connecting in your catalog and your commerce, all of the nitty gritty that you need to on the front end have these lovely pretty ads that dynamically show to your audience. When it works, great, amazing. Getting that to work can be an absolute pain in the backside. And I'm mentioning it because I know for a fact that lots of the brands that we work with, sometimes we have to go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth to get access. But we persist because we know it's worth it. And so I just
particularly, I just want to add to that, if the brand has had multiple agencies.
Then you're kind of going back trying to unpick, well, who set this up and what did they do?
Who's got access
to what and what level of access do they have? And that was from so-and-so and they no longer work at that company. Or it can be a nightmare. And we see it time and time again, which is why I want to mention it, because there will categorically be people watching this that will go, Meta, I'd love to, but it's an absolute nightmare to try and get access. But get some help if you're struggling with it, because actually it's not that difficult. We have a set kind of criteria where you need to do this, and it works. Sometimes we do have to go back and forth. We have to do screen shares. Sometimes we have to do videos walking, click this, add this person, do this. And we'll do that if it's not, whoever you're working with, if you're working, get them to do that. But just know that if you are struggling with it, because there will be people watching this going, it sounds great, but that's a pain in the backside.
I can imagine.
Just know that you're not the only one. From an agency perspective, when we talk to lots of brands, we see it all the time.
I'm glad we have the experts in our paid team who can do all of this, because I can only imagine the pain, the faff, the struggle that you would have to go
we had
through.
one, just to give you an example, again, one of the clients we've just started working with, e-commerce. They had struggled. She'd said to me that they had struggled for months to try and get this. She'd spoken to actual Meta themselves, try and get their support to get all this set up. She had some issues with privacy settings and cookie settings and creating the audiences and the pixel and getting the data to talk. And just
You've lost me.
It was a myriad. He'd lost her as well, bless her. But it was a myriad. It was just a real mess. And she'd had two different agencies prior to coming to us. She just couldn't get it sorted. And she was like, I've been trying to sort this out for 6 months. It's a nightmare. It's driving me mad. And I said, explain what's going on. And I sat there, she just was like, okay, this is what, and I said, just send me everything you've done so far. Well, I passed on to the team. Within a week, we had it sorted and done. And she was like over the moon, couldn't believe it. And I got a lovely email saying thank you so much. So
amazing.
If you get the right people in your corner, it can be sorted. But it's, the access can be a nightmare.
So I just wanted to go on to one other thing. We did talk a little bit about creative already.
Yes.
But I think one of the most important things that you can do with the creative on Meta is split tests.
over to you, right? I'm passing the gauntlet over to you, because we're doing loads more creative on Meta, and I think there is so much there that you can do with Meta, probably more than with search ads. So do you want to just give us a flavor then of when you're thinking about your ads, what are some of the creative that we're doing, and the things you can think about?
Well, because I think it's so easy to again, when we talk about split tests and call to actions, for example, there are so many fairly easy things that they very quickly appear to be a lot more than they are. And to give you an example of this, for example, when we're doing split tests and different call to actions, and then you've got other examples like having music on a video or not having music on a video, because all of these things can have an impact on how well your ads are performing. It can very quickly change 8 ads into 92 different videos.
And I've seen it, believe me.
Yes, that's an actual example of something we've worked on before. But because those 8 videos are in 3 different aspect ratios. Each one of them has 2 different messagings, 2 different colorings. They've got music, they don't have music. And by doing that, you are actually working with a lot more than what you seem to do. And it doesn't take very long to do all of that stuff. It can be a bit complicated. It can be hard to wrap your head around it, because you've got to be very organized to do it. And I think it's why, personally, for me, I like being very organized. And I would hate to be doing the business side of it and the creative side of it, because I think that's when you just lose your mind with how complicated it gets. But it's that stuff that can really make the difference. Because if you're just making one ad in one aspect ratio with no music and one messaging, one call to action.
All your eggs, one basket, and you're hoping for the best. So, but if we're thinking about the role that Meta can play, I think, as we've said from the outset, the must do is must do retargeting, and then build on from that and do prospecting. Understand that it runs very much in parallel with search intent, interruption marketing via social. That's a role it can play. Understand that it's going to be a pain in the backside potentially to get access, get it set up.
But it's worth it.
Persist, and it's absolutely worth it.
And creative?
Creative, hugely important for Meta. I would actually argue more so for Meta than even for search when it comes to the creative. And I think the key thing there, and again, what we're doing, so we always like to use what we're doing in real life, real world examples, is we are, with our creative, making sure that we have a video example, aren't we? Motion graphic example, so moving imagery, and then still imagery as well. As a general rule of thumb, we're using a combination of different media, different forms, but we're also making sure that we are split testing the calls to action and the messages. And I can give you a real life example of this that had a real impact and made a difference. Is we tried an ad, same creative, retargeting. We got the access, so we got through the pain of the access. I'm really hit up on this, aren't I? The access thing is really like, you can tell it's a...
You got some wounds.
I've got some war wounds when it comes to access. So it is like, if you're struggling, I feel your pain. But when it comes to, one thing we did on the creative messaging was we had one version of the ad where we led in with a question. So it was asking a question. Remember this one? So it's leading with a question. And I love the psychology of marketing. I love it, right? So if you ask a question, even if you don't answer it instinctively,
you answer it in your head.
You answer it in your head. And so from an advertising perspective, that is powerful, right? If you're not using questions in your marketing, do it. It's why a lot of our T Talks will be questions, because whether you watch it or not, you're going to go, kind of answer that. So we had one version of the ad where we led in with a question. But then what we also did is we wanted to split test the performance, and that is still ongoing, so I can't give you the answers to it, but this is something we've done very recently, is we had a question for one version, and then we had a split test version where we led in with the offer. So we didn't go in with the question, we went in essentially a statement, but it was very much a strong call to action with a really enticing offer and incentive. And what we're going to do, we know historically the question has always worked better than even the offer, because we use the creative to showcase the offer. Here's a discount, here's an offer, here's a whatever. So that really hits you between the eyes. But then the text above it, this is for retargeting and on Meta obviously, was led in with a question. Now what we've, and that's always historically worked, but because we've got such a good offer for this client, for this period we're running, they've said, we really want to push the offer. So we've gone, okay, well, we'll have the creative with the offer. We will lead in with the messaging will be the offer as well. So it's kind of getting double impact, and we'll put the question further down. What will work? I don't know. Ask me in a few T Talks and we'll know, we'll have the answer. But that's just a little example of don't need to overcomplicate your calls to action. Yeah. Think logically about customer. Go, well, what would work better? A question or an offer or an incentive?
Yeah.
And just that can be as complicated as your split testing needs to be.
And with the right creative, you can show and tell.
See, well, that's the way you're going to end this episode of T.E.A Talks. I hope you enjoyed it. That was beautiful.
That was
a mic drop moment. That was beautiful. There you go. So there you go. Hopefully that's given you some food for thought in terms of how and where and the role that Meta can play in your marketing mix. What are you doing? What are you not doing? What are you maybe thinking about doing? Let us know in the comments. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Bye.